time. Danny Vegas World. We got to undo the reverb there, Joe Gamble. Now, I know we got something a little bit different today. We are doing a podcast style show today. I tend to do this every once in a while to the chagrin of all the TV people. Oh, the TV people that are out there, they're freaking out. But every once in a while, I like to do a podcast style. Derek Thomas, thank you for joining us today. Yes, I got your message, partner, and let's try to meet next week. And we do a podcast every once in a while because what I like to do is show the diversity. There we go. The diversity of WCOBM and what we can really do. We can do a podcast style type show. I know all the podcasters, they're doing everything they can to get their phones. They got their phones out. They got their shoe phones. They got everything out there trying to be, hello, Missy, love you, trying to be seen on their podcast. Well, I'm going back in time. Hello, Elizabeth. How you doing? Sam, love you. And Jim, I love you too. We're going back in time a little bit, back in the day when I kind of started this revolution. So I stuck a picture up. So now you don't have to worry about watching. You could just listen to the Danny Vegas Live show because we're going to be doing this for about a half an hour. We are experimenting today. Here at WCOBM, Joe Gamble, that looks beautiful, man. I love the way you got that set up. The way we are now streaming live to 3 different entities at one time. Or at least we think we are, right, Joe Gamble? At least we think we are. And so we are streaming live to 3 different Danny Vegas entities on Facebook just to see what happens. So the picture that you see, I am the person on the left when I dress up like a girl, and I'm the guy on the right when I'm a guy. No, that's just a lie. But Nicole Taylor Sharp, hashtag Sharp Tank, one of my co-hosts here on the Danny Vegas Live show, and she is on your left or right. And I am the guy looking all suave de boner, Rico Suave, way cool junior. That is me on the Danny Vegas Live show. Okay, so we got the thing fired up. We're doing a podcast-style event today. If you have any thoughts, insights, I could probably see what you are chiming in. I've got 3 different pages up, so I don't know if I can catch a lot of it. Seems like my Danny Vegas page. And Linda Leake's calling me. Don't you know I got a show going on here? Hey, Linda, don't you know that I got a show going on at 11 o'clock?
Oh, you have your show at 11?
Yeah, in fact, you're on the air right now. I just turned on the speaker, baby.
Oh, my own show is going on?
Anyway, Linda, I gotta go. I'm on my show, sweetie.
Okay, I'll call you at 12.
Okay, bye. Welcome to my world of the Danny Vegas running the WCOBM empire. Anyway, so if you want to chime in, Cynthia, you are live. Thank you very much. Let's get into a few things here. And you know, it's kind of interesting. Now, I'm kind of how do I say this? I'm probably a little bit more conservative than I am a liberal cat, but I tend to believe in some of the liberal causes. I think in all, it just tends to work better in some respects, but I tend to be a little bit more conservative, maybe because I'm older, I don't know. Maybe because when I was a young man at 18, 17, I was all part of the Reagan Revolution. You know, the Democrats had been in control of the House for 40 years. And, of course, you know, it just wasn't working when you're in power that long. So I was all kind of part of that. So maybe that's why I tend to be more conservative. I don't really know. But what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about the immigration thing. Now, I don't get caught up in the furor of kids and parents, and I tend not to get caught up in all that. I don't tend to get I got 2 kids, I got a wife, I got trash to come out on Tuesdays. I really have more to worry about than whether or not someone is separated from each other for a amount of time while you're being... I just don't get caught up in that. Now, but we as Americans, we have to make a decision. And when I hear this discussion, this is where I tend to go. It comes down to this. Like I said, I'm not going to throw poison one way or another because, quite frankly, I'm kind of a middle-of-the-road guy. I don't get caught up in the fever. I don't make signs and hit the streets and all that stuff and, and try to create any type of message through social media. I'm a marketing guy. Come on. I'm about marketing. I'm about presenting messages and creating great stuff. Hello, Maria. Nice to see you again. It's pretty simple. We, as an American, because we're the ones who are going to have to make the decision here, okay? The ones who vote are going to have to make the decision here. We have to decide. Do we want an open border or do we want a regulated border like we have now? Maybe some of us who want a regulated border want it a little bit more hardcore. Maybe some of us don't want it as hardcore, but we want some type of process. We do not believe in the catch and release, laissez-faire. Hey, speeding ticket. Here's your speeding ticket. Hello, Steve Dibbins. Love you, man. Here's your speeding ticket. Show up in a year. Many of us don't like that process. Some of us want that changed. We want some type of process of that would solve the illegal immigration problem, which has been going on longer than most of you, thank you, have been alive. I want you to sink that in. Before you were a glimmer in your daddy's eye, this problem's been going on. Okay? So we have to decide. We have a president now, whether you hate, like, love, kind of like this, hate that, whatever. You have a president who says, I'm going to fix this issue that has not been fixed or even attempted to be. Well, back in the 90s, I think Bill Clinton did something called Gatekeeper, which is much more hardcore than it is now. So all my liberal friends, I love you. If you remember Gatekeeper back in the 90s, oh my God, you'd freak out over that. That was Bill Clinton's answer. And to what I have heard, that worked out pretty good. And the whole idea was to have a double fence throughout the populated areas, driving people who were trying to cross the border illegally to more desolate areas, making it kind of like, is it worth it? We're going to die out there. In fact, here's a story. Back in the 90s, I remember some people were trying to cross the border out in the desert, and they died out there. And at the same time, a baby whale died, got caught in the kelp beds right outside San Diego. Of course, I lived in San Diego at the time. And there were more people whining about the whale drowning in the kelp beds, which have been going on for 1 million years, than worried about the people trying to cross the border out in the desert. I specifically remember that and thought, wow, that's kind of weird. But anyway, here's the deal. So we have a president now who says, hey, we're going to fix it. We're going to be more hardcore at the border. No more speeding ticket. And that's the way we got to think about it. Do you want the speeding ticket process? Hey, we caught you. Oh, you got a kid, whatever. Here's a speeding ticket. Here's a little citation. Be in this courtroom in 2020, March 2nd, 2020. Do we want that system? Because if you do, then be honest about it. Say, I am for open borders. Because with open borders comes no separations of families, right? Now, we love that. Now, we all know, because we're educated. We're educated, right? We all know the people who get separated or were getting separated from their kids are not the ones that came to all the consulates in Mexico or all the 30 places in Mexico you can ask for asylum. They didn't go to the 30 places across the border where they can ask for asylum. These are the folks that were crawling underneath the fence, hiding in the bushes. These are the folks that when they're arrested, because we have a new policy now, and my liberal friends, you are right. Donald Trump changed it from the speeding ticket, laissez-faire. You can just go about what you want to do, which was a magnet for more and more and more people coming. If you do your research, because we're educated. If you do the research, right, you realize how much of an increase that people are using the asylum ticket. We're using the asylum card. That's what we're going to call it. So we know that. So this particular president is being a little bit hardcore. It's almost like a drunk driving charge. Okay, hey. You driving drunk? We're taking you in. No more speeding tickets for drunk driving, right? And if you're drunk driving and you got a kid in the car, they ain't going with you. Oh, you're going to jail. And that kid, you ain't going to hang out in the drunk tank down there at the Metro, okay, with all the sodomites and all the crazies down there. You're not going to put your kid in there. Great. Your kid's going to be separated from you. That's what's going to happen. Now, hey, you're in Las Vegas, you call grandma comes to pick up your kid, but that kid's going somewhere while you get processed into jail. So we as an Americans, and you just got to be honest with yourself. I want you to look in the mirror. This morning, or maybe tomorrow, whenever. You want to look in the mirror. Hello, Barbara. I love you. If you want to look in the mirror and you have to ask yourself, do I believe in an open border system? The speeding ticket? Here, we caught you. Here's your ticket. Show up in a year. We all know that they don't show back up. I don't know if I'd blame them. They don't show back up, so they just melt into our society. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not throwing poison at all. I'll kind of get into that in a minute. You want that, or you want some process at the other end of the spectrum. We call that the closed border, a regulated border, zero tolerance. They told me that in the Navy. You smoke dope in the Navy, it's zero tolerance. So you either want that or you want the other. Because that's what's going to drive the narrative. Now, they're going to show kids, they're going to show moms, they're going to show dads, they're going to show all this stuff, all right, to convince you of one way or another. But you as an American have to vote. Do I want an open border, or do I want a regulated border? It comes down to that. Now, let me tell you what I feel. Personally, I don't think all these folks coming up from, and that's the big thing, everybody thinks that these are a bunch of Mexicans coming from Tijuana. It is not a bunch of Mexicans, okay? It is people from Honduras. It's people from South America. They're the ones that are traveling the thousands of miles to come up to our border to cross. I don't believe that the vast majority of these folks are like, I can't wait to travel thousands of miles. Oh, it's going to be so cool because I could just go rob people's houses and I could just beat people over the head and take their money. I don't believe it's that. I believe it's just people that are looking for a better life. And there's no doubt in my mind that if we, even myself, are like, you know what, we have to do something down at the border. I remember them talking about this when I was 6, back in 1978. No, 1968. Sorry, 10 years. I remember them talking about that. We would do the same thing. If it's like, I'm living in this joint, it sucks. I work my ass off just enough to buy a bowl of rice to feed my kids. When I can get up to the United States, I could literally work in the back of a kitchen washing dishes, doing jobs that no one else wants. Right? And I'll still make more. I'll still provide more for my family. And they told me if I bring my child with me, I have a better chance of getting in. Because all I have to do is do asylum or some other. These people, the people that traffic human beings, they traffic human beings. Make a lot of money getting these poor folks to shell out every dime they got to get to America. All right? I have a heart. I understand it. It ain't all a bunch of gang members coming up here to gang bang. So that narrative to me is, yes, there's a criminal element because anytime you get human beings together, there will be a criminal element. I don't care if you have 100 human beings in one room. Someone's stealing something. Where's the video? Regina, we're doing a podcast today because we're trying to show all the podcasters out there that if you want to do a podcast or a radio show here at WCOBM, we can do that. So don't worry. The video will be coming on later in the show. But I do love you, Regina. Thank you. So that is the deal. So as an American, you just have to decide. I'll look you right in the face. You can sit there and scream about kids, and you can hate Donald Trump, or you could hate the liberals, and you could do this, and you can do that, but you just have to come up with the answer. Do you support an open border or a regulated border? Do you believe in the speeding ticket? Where, hey, if you get caught, here's your speeding ticket. See you in a year. I know you're not coming back, but quite frankly, we ain't got time for you. Because you got to remember, Mr. President Obama tried the separation of kid thing too. And then a judge stepped in and said, hey, you don't have the facilities to keep these kids separated. So you got 20 days to get these kids back with their parents and either let them go or send them home. Can't do it in 20 days. The president, that particular president, decided, you know what, let's just go with the speeding ticket model because, quite frankly, I don't want to deal with this. I don't even throw a lot of poison at that because I think he's boxed in. I think you're pretty much boxed in. This particular president's trying it again. Whether he'll be successful right now, no. Right now, they're letting them people go. Speeding ticket. Now, the question is this. You can argue from one side, or you can argue for another. I love you one way or another. It's cool. Hello. And here's the deal. You have to vote. The candidates are going to be running this fall. You have to ask them, do you believe in a closed border, a regulated border, some type of process? That's what I'm asking for. I'm just asking for some process. I'm asking to stop the flow, get the criminals out, figure out what you're going to do with the people that are left over, come up with a great worker program, whatever, where people can come and they can work for a period of time, go home, whatever. Figure it out. But it's been going on since I was 6. I am 55 years old now. So all you young cats that are marching in the streets, I love you. I may not agree with what you're doing, but I love you because you're Americans and you're exceptional. But it's been going on longer than you've been alive. You're Johnny-come-lately. Where have you been? You're late to the party. They've been fighting this issue longer than you've been alive. So, that's what's going to happen this fall. You just got to decide one way or another. Do you want a regulated border or do you want a open border? It just comes down to that. So stop giving each other stink eye. Stop throwing poison. Stop. You just spreading crap that you don't even know if it's true. You're just sharing it like crazy. Whatever. But I'll make it simple for you. I explain it to you like Danny Vegas can. No one explains it better than Danny Vegas because, like Forrest Gump, I explain it that you can understand it. Because it comes down to this. You either want a closed border or you want an open border. You want laissez-faire or you want hardcore. Or maybe a little somewhere, and I always say the truth lies in the middle. I've been on this show. And I've solved the immigration process because we all want some process. Because we know what's going on now isn't working. So, My goodness gracious, Joe Gamble, what do you think? Not bad? All right. Okay, I'll tell you what, we're going to go for another 5 minutes. I think I made my thing perfectly clear. Feel free to chime in, everybody. I mean, I'm not going to be mad at you. I mean, I don't care where you are on the political spectrum. You are an American. That means you are an exceptional. I do believe in American exceptionalism. Don't ask me to spell that because I barely got out of high school. So I'll tell you what, Joe Gamble, why don't we cut this off? We're done for now. We'll be back with one more podcast version, and then we'll go back to the live camera version. Okay, we'll be back.